What is the worst thing to say when a person's crying? What's the creepiest conspiracy theory you know? What was ruined by rich people? Concerts. You can't even buy a beer at one for what a general admission ticket used to cost, and people still pay for it. Clothing brands. Carhartt, Dickies, Levi's, and many more. Like, why did a Dickies t-shirt go from $15 to almost $40 in a few years? Thrift stores. My mom and I used to go thrifting all the time when I was in school, and now it's just like awful. It's just people just reselling it, missing the entire point of thrift stores. They're supposed to be affordable for people who can't really afford it. Whatever. Old school ski mountains with family vibes and stoner lifties rocking to music. We always watch those silly ski patrol movies about the big corporations coming in and making them yuppieville, and then it happened. Theme parks. Gone are the days when everyone was equal and you all had to queue regardless of your income. And even until recently, some theme parks gave fast passes periodically throughout the day. Now, if you got deep pockets, you can queue jump, making your day a little better and everyone else's a little worse. Collecting. In the past few years, the price of little collectibles and things of that have gone insanely high. Cards, action figures, you name it. Just look up any sub for a hobby and you'll see people dropping your entire salary in one day. Yeah, man. Why are people charging so much for this stuff? Like, I know people are buying it, all the rich people, but like, I just want a copy of Pokemon Emerald. I don't want to have to pay at least $140 for it, unless your TikTok page DK Oldies and you're charging triple. Ridiculous. Place the thermal paste, you fricks. Being poor. I can't even be homeless without trying to fight for a camping spot. Concerts and sporting events. Even NASCAR tickets are expensive now. The standard of living for everyone else. The housing market. Just the economy in general, TBH. Burning Man. What song requires an immediate increase in volume as soon as you hear it? Cult of Personality by Living Colour. Yep, that first riff has to hit hard. This is a big agree for me. I've been listening to this song for years and years, man. Such a bop. Master of Puppets. Foo Fighters. Everlong. Run Like Hell by Pink Floyd. It's almost any Pink Floyd song you need to increase the volume. That's such a good band. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling. I don't know the name of that song. Back in Black by AC/DC. Bohemian Rhapsody. What existed 10 years ago but is gone or obsolete now? Vine. Rest in peace. TikTok was not a good replacement. The Chinese government has entered the chat. I've said this on my Twitter before, and it's a very controversial take, and I'm not just saying it to be different. I actually believe this. TikTok is better than Vine, and it has been for a very long time. Most of the famous Vine creators that you know and love are all bad people, and they've turned out to be like really bad people, and everything was just like so racial. Like, all of the big Vine creators were all just making racist jokes, and we were okay with it, which is so weird. I don't know. I've been called very wrong for this take, and you guys will probably say the same thing, but TikTok is better than Vine. Single topic blogs. Remember those? Regretsy, stuff white people like, Cake Rex, people of Walmart, FML. Look at this frickin' hipster, stuff my dad says, awkward family photos, etc. Those things were everywhere from about 2007 to 2013, and then just sort of went away. Though some live on, in a way, as subreddits now. Yeah, I was just about to say that. These all look like just subreddits. Reddit is just now taken over the single topic blog, like, fan base. Good free apps, or apps that you only had to pay once for. BlackBerry phones. I still have my dad's old BlackBerry somewhere. I would only ever, like, play the brick games where the ball bounces off the thing and hits the bricks. That one. The Windows Phone. As an early adopter, I was forever left behind by the superior apps that were on Android and iOS, despite liking the phone itself. I hoped it would catch up, but never did. Netflix streaming that had everything in one freaking place. I do really not enjoy the fact that everyone has a subscription service now, and everything's so spread out. I did like that Netflix was like the only one, and if you were gonna stream it, you just would need Netflix, but now you need Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, what are the other ones? Peacock, HBO Max, or whatever it's called. Like, you need so many of them. It's just not fun. It's so much money. It's like paying for cable. A lot of people in this thread think 10 years ago was 2000. Weird to think it's only 2012. Doesn't seem that long ago. Facebook without my extended family using it. My hairline. I know how that feels. Smooth. Get it? It's a bald joke. You're bald, and I'm laughing at you. Video games without cosmetic microtransactions, battle passes, loot boxes, and other predatory monetization models. Yeah, I definitely miss the days when there was no loot boxes or battle pass. I've spent so much money on Fortnite, and I used to spend so much money on Overwatch 1 loot boxes. The Overwatch 2 battle pass model kind of sucks. Coney 2012. What are the strangest house rules you had growing up? My dad was super weird about ice cubes. If you took one out of the tray instead of the big bin, he'd be mad about the missing cube. You had to empty the tray into the bin and then refill it. When I moved away for college, first day home, I decided to see if he still checked, and I took a cube out of the top tray way in the back. He asked me about it less than an hour later. They have a countertop ice machine now, so no more ice anxiety for my dad. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a countertop ice machine. Those little ice nuggets that you get in Sonic drinks. Oh, please. They're $400. I'm not gonna pay $400 for ice. At that point, I'd rather just keep all of my cups in the refrigerator and chill them. I couldn't have mustard and cheese on the same sandwich. I have no idea why. It was explained no one has mustard and cheese. I asked my parents about it when I was an adult, and they deny it ever happened, even with my brothers try to back me up. Call farts poofies because my mom didn't like the word poofies. I've never heard poofies. I was friends with a family who would call them tootities, but never heard of poofies. Showering is allowed only one time per week on Sunday. What? I don't know why this is all about. Water is cheap where I live, but surely I got bullied for smelling bad. You could only shower once a week? That's disgusting. Winter cleans up. Everyone always looked at me sideways when I say it after a game, but that's the way we did it. That makes sense to me for kids stuff. Then cleaning up doesn't get associated with the bad feelings of losing. Also, winning becomes less of a big thing, so the kids will hopefully be less competitive. You can ask dad to help with anything before 3 p.m. Everything after 3 was his time. I mean, that just sounds like your dad verbalized what we all do. Good on him. No food could be eaten on just a plate. Plate had to be on a tray, because what if crumbs fall? OMG. Which seems so weird in a house that is way dirtier than mine is now. Needless to say, I hate trays, don't own any, and never will. My stupid rule will be no trays allowed. It is what it is. Racking my brain for an answer, but all of this has made me realize how astonishingly ordinary my childhood was. My parents never allowed any of us in the fridge or cupboards. Also, never allowed to change channel from what my stepdad put on. Ever. That just sounds like jail. No SpongeBob because my mom thought it was stupid. I mean, I love SpongeBob, but she was correct. Yeah, it's stupid, but I'd rather watch SpongeBob than like Discovery Kids. I actually watched the Discovery Kids channel when I was a kid for a little bit, and they had this thing called Grossology, and there was like 25 episodes for the entire series, and it would just marathon every day through and through and through. I had it basically memorized, and that stuff wasn't even good. Dad had a clock hanging over the bar. The caption on the clock read, "No drinking before 5." The strange part of Dad's rule was that all of the numerals on the clock's face were 5s. Is that so no drinking? Or, I don't know. That's weird. You weren't allowed to say, "I know," because if you knew, you'd be doing it. Normally said while I was doing that thing. What would be the worst thing about having taste buds on your fingertips? Yeah, that's the first one I thought of too. Wiping your ass. Handling money or being a plumber. 2 words. Public transit. Shaking hands with people. I can taste every doorknob and handle. Washing them with soap. Popping pimples. Ugh. Ooh, that gave me the shivers. Oh my god. Tripping and catching your fall with your hands. Every mouse that is used at my job and how many different other hands touched it. Those weekly full body oil massages that I give my dad would start to be a bit awkward. Oh boy. You give your dad? Your username makes so much more sense now. Username, I am mean because I am sad. That's, Batman couldn't get that information out of me, I don't think. That is just like, you just made this whole thing really awkward. Dropping out the wet food from sink. People with ADHD, what is something you do that you thought everyone else did, but found out it's because you have ADHD? Stare at people and try to focus very hard on what they're saying, only to realize a whole whopping 0 meaning is going into my brain, despite understanding each word individually. Either these things are normal, or I have ADHD. Apparently, being sleepy from coffee. Thinking about other things while reading. I could read a whole page of a textbook, like say all the words in my head, but wouldn't process any of the information because my mind was elsewhere. Had to reread the page a few times because I kept spacing out while doing it. Hyper-focusing on something for hours without realizing, then immediately losing interest in it either because of a distraction or sudden, inexplicable boredom. Forget things when you don't constantly think about it. This is a big one for me. I forget things all the time. Constantly forgetting why I'm in that room. Moving back and forth between tasks. Singing the same lyric over and over again to the point that you sing it out loud every waking moment. My dad does this. This is a really, very frequent thing my father does. Being extremely distracted or annoyed by little noises that no one else seems to notice. I have an appointment at 4 p.m., so I can't do anything all day. Really having to restrain myself to not interrupt people, and people calling you rude or self-absorbed or narcissistic if you don't hold your tongue, because no one else gets the overwhelming urge to impulsively speak all the time that we get. When someone does doesn't finish their sentence fast enough, and all you want to do is say it for them to hurry them up so you can talk again. It took me a long time to reach myself to just wait for them and try not to guess what they're gonna say. What's the worst possible name for a restaurant you can think of? Salmonella's. God, I replied to this about to ask someone to explain it to me until I reread it for the 4th time. There's a seafood place near me called the Juicy Crab. Ew! Gross. The Juicy Crab. Permanently closed. The Irritable Bowel. They only serve high-fiber foods that make you crap yourself. Sharts. You guys want to go to Sharts? It's on me. Not a restaurant, but some of the produce sold at my local Aldi is from Bland Farms, which is a hilarious name for a food producer. The Blue Waffle. Do not Google. You're right. Do not Google Blue Waffle. It's gross. There was a lovely family-run Chinese restaurant in my hometown that was replaced by something called Belly Busters. That sounds very, incredibly unappealing. I know a Chinese restaurant called Man Top Yourself. It was an idea me and my friend had where it was a pizza place where you could have all of the fun of making your own pizza from scratch. Great concept for a restaurant, but maybe work on the naming a little bit more. Here in Montreal a few years back, we had Q Sushi. It flew for a couple years because Quebec, but they eventually were forced to change the name. Man, why do they gotta ruin all the fun? You wake up as God. What do you do with your absolute power? See if the last God left any documentation and then work on fixing the code. Probably first. I mean, common. Make all the crustaceans angry so they rise against humanity, giving way for a new world. Go back to sleep. I could make myself sleep, like, forever. That'd be great. Troll atheists on r/atheism. Epic. Make every adult human orgasm at the exact same time, and then watch while they speculate about what happened. Frick, I like this. Remove humankind and start fresh with hyper-advanced platypuses. Make the macroses suffer in pain. Add 1 extra hour to the day so I can sleep longer. I think God can sleep as long as he wants. Look at the world as it is today and say nope, and reset to factory settings. Probably look at our universe's source code and try to patch the bugs. Biting the inside of your cheek while chewing, wiping your butt, and it's like an endless poo marker pen. Sleep sometimes results in clients not feeling replenished and rested. Good deeds and reward system is not linear as it was intended to be. When you're drifting off to sleep and suddenly feel like you're falling. Rolls up sleeves, there shall be no more Karens or Kevins in this world. Snaps fingers. I am God. Found Kanye's account. People of Reddit, what's the most desperate thing you've ever done for money? I participated in a food study where I couldn't eat for a day before arrive at the lab crazy early in the morning. Had a tube put down my throat and lay there for 6 hours as they pumped liquids into and out of my stomach. After the first 2 hours, I begged them to at least turn on the TV, but they would only let me watch PBS, so I couldn't accidentally see any commercials about food. It wasn't fun, but the pay was decent and they served me a steak dinner afterward. Held a sign for people to see at an intersection. Normally this isn't bad, however, it is a local thing to bully those that do by throwing food items like milkshakes and slushies at them, which is why I was hesitant to do so. Those dumb surveys. Wasn't worth the time I wasted, only got like $10 total before I gave up. Dug under a Chinese restaurant without shoring or permits to get a clogged grease trap. Pulled and replaced hundreds of fluorescent ballasts, old school ones loaded with PCBs, without safety gear. That sounds dangerous. Have you considered not doing that? I pawned some handmade jewelry that was passed to me from someone very special. When I got paid less than 2 weeks later, my items were missing from the pawn shop. I have never gotten over that, and it makes me sad that I never got to even wear her jewelry to something special. I slept with my 64-year-old landlady. In my defense, it was either that or sleep on the streets. Bro is a gilf hunter. Oh my god. Gross. Participated in a sleep study where they had us wired up to electrodes to monitor our responses at periodic intervals across 3 days without sleep. It was brutal. I learned I cannot go without sleep for 2 days in a row. I was 2 feet away from getting a payday loan before I came to my senses. Once when unemployed, I bought a bunch of king-size candy at Costco and went door to door selling it and saying it was a fundraiser for a church youth group. Made a good profit and was able to pay rent that month. Hey, good stuff. I scrounged every inch of my car, trunk, under carpet, pulled out seats to find enough change not to bounce a check. I needed less than $1 and had about an hour to find the money and deposit it. The banker lady knew what was up when I made the deposit. 30-some years later and I still haven't bounced a check. Hey, good for you, man. Spent 3 weeks on my knees planting tulip bulbs in a field in Holland in October. Bulbs were covered in formaldehyde and a layer of skin fell off my hands. Slept in a semi-derelict caravan and lived off of raw carrots. Fortunately, there was also some good hash and you could buy beer for £2, a crate full, to take the edge off. What was the most overrated flavor of chips? This is going to be a very good and very controversial controversial one for sure. Flamin' Hot. All heat, no flavor. Red dye 40. Yeah, I mean, definitely no flavor. It just makes your tongue red and spicy a little bit. But yeah, I don't really taste anything. Prawn cocktail. I don't get the hype. Cocktail sauce is absolutely repulsive to me. I eat a lot of weird stuff, but I've never been able to stomach it. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know someone made prawn cocktail chips. Nacho cheese Doritos. Aren't those just Doritos? Yeah, I mean, it's the OG flavor, but I mean, there's so many better ones. Cool Ranch, the green one, Garden Salsa, I think is what it is. Spicy sweet chili, they're all better than the nacho cheese. I think the original Pringles are overrated and they aren't that liked by that many, and I just don't like them. I don't understand like how people don't eat flavored potato chips. Like, why do you just like the taste of fried potato? Salt and Vinegar is awful, but people seem to like it. I love Salt and Vinegar. They're great. It depends on the brand. I've had good Salt and Vinegar. I've had bad Salt and Vinegar. Ketchup. I've yet to have ketchup chips, so I can't be the judge of that. Barbecue. Most gosh dang boring flavor ever. I agree, but Lay's is the exception. Here's the thing with barbecue chips. When the barbecue flavoring is on potato chips, they are so bad. Actually horrible. But if you put barbecue flavoring on a corn chip, like a Dorito or a Frito or something, oh my god, it's bomb. It's like the best. I miss when Doritos had a barbecue flavor. I wish they'd bring it back. And the barbecue twisted Fritos are so good too. Original, really boring to me. How vanilla? Vanilla flavored chips sound gross. Sour cream and onion. Nah, you just want to be different. You just want to be different here. Sour cream and onion is like universally one of the best flavors. Sour cream and cheddar tastes like when I vomit burp. Chicken, it tastes nothing like it. There are chicken chips? I didn't know that. What is the worst human invention ever made? That plastic childproof packaging that no one knows how to open, so we cut it with scissors and still somehow manage to cut ourselves from it. Landmines. Leaded gasoline. Lobotomy. Worst part is the guy even got a Nobel Prize. Serious answer, chemical toxins that have caused severe health problems. Personal answer, HP printers. Frickin' pieces of garbage. Styrofoam is pretty abominable in my book, especially for things like takeout food that's destined for the trash within minutes of use. That little press to open tab on Kraft mac and cheese boxes. That has been an effective way of opening those boxes exactly 0 times. I even stopped doing that. I just rip open the top with my bare hands and brute strength. Fake X on ads. Quite literally maybe the worst thing ever. Unskippable ads. I lied. This is the worst thing ever. Glitter. Such a horrible substance. I love microplastics. I love microplastics. Single ply toilet paper. Subscription services to anything in a vehicle that is already built into it. That's a subscription to use despite spending $30,000 on the car and the equipment was installed at the factory. People are going to start jailbreaking their cars soon. Cigarettes. They never should have been made. 24-hour news networks. Single-use plastics. Hand sensing faucets. 90% of them work badly. Just give me a better sensor or I'll take the normal faucet. Social media algorithms that do nothing but enforce biases and division. Deep fakes. Packaging for scissors that require scissors to open. What is your I put that stuff on everything ingredient? The speed I go through powdered garlic is alarming. Cayenne powder. Garlic. Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Freshly cracked black pepper. The difference between black pepper and freshly cracked black pepper is startling. Smoked paprika. Sadly, it's salt. That stuff is fire. Hot sauce. The basic answer, but sure. Pesto. Worcestershire sauce. What are unsuccessful people doing wrong? One huge factor that I've noticed is delayed gratification. The successful people I know are totally fine doing something that sucks right now that will be good for them later, like exercise consistently or actually finish school, while others won't do it because it sucks. Networking. My biggest piece of advice for anyone is to network and burn as few bridges as possible. Speaking from experience, everything. How they treat failure. I watched friends hit a small bump in the road that successful people might not even notice, or just treat as a necessary part of getting where they are trying to be. But those friends that treat this as a complete failure and immediately drop it and move on to something else, or nothing at all. After a bunch of these, they become bitter and view the world as against them, not realizing that many other people hit the same challenges but just worked through them. Probably doesn't have successful parents. Guidance since childhood is freaking golden and super underrated. Being born poor. If you know the evidence, I don't need to explain why, and if you think I'm wrong, that's fine obviously, but it's a major factor. Not taking accountability. Notice how those who complain a lot does not seem to do much about it themselves. They don't delay gratification. They don't plan ahead. They don't use process analysis in their day-to-day lives. They have addictions that interfere with how they live. They are complacent. They fear or oppose executing the steps needed to be successful. They don't adapt to operate more effectively within power structures. They don't network. Looking for answers on Reddit. Not succeeding. What is a luxury item that people consider a basic need? A new car every few years. Not every few years, man. Oh God, I still have like 7 more years on my car payment. Make it stop. A $15,000 wedding ring. In New Zealand, period products are still taxed as luxury items despite campaigns to overturn it. A brand new iPhone. Good toilet paper, man. We all need good toilet paper. In my experience, many people see airplane flight as something close to a human right. I find it extremely privileged to be able to ride airplanes at all, not even considering annually like others. Alcohol, nicotine, soda, fast food. Teeth, apparently. Makeup, nail polish, and nail appointments. Pretty much all forms of art. People enjoy it every day and take it for granted. Expensive coffee. Are there any non-coffee drinkers out there? I'm not a big coffee guy. What about you guys? People in this thread are treating basic luxury as a basic need. Christmas anything. Starbucks. Here in Canada, tampons and pads are categorized as luxury items. What is a food you could eat every day and not get bored of? Any Chinese food, dude. Any like American Chinese food. Oh, literally every day I could. Bread. I gave you a thumbs up too, like that TikTok guy. Bread. Pasta and tomato sauce. In fact, I used to as a student. Tacos. Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Lovely big golden chips with a nice piece of fried fish. Pizza. Every day, everywhere, every way. Sandwiches. It's so versatile. You totally could. Dumplings. Freshly baked bread with butter. Sushi. I don't think you're supposed to eat sushi every day. I thought that was like not allowed. Biryani. I don't know what that is. Ramen noodles, I'm ashamed to admit. Nothing wrong with that, brother. Check your salt intake though. Garlic bread. I could honestly eat it for every meal or just eat it forever without stopping. Eggs. Wonderful with or without meat, potatoes, and there are enough ways to prepare them to keep me from getting bored. Popcorn if I'm allowed to season it differently sometimes. What do rich people not deserve? Most of the money they have, for sure. Clemency when they commit fraud. Vehicular homicide, drug possession, literally anything that ordinary people have gone to prison for life over. The assumption that their wealth is a reflection of their intelligence. Looking at you, Mr. Musk, you stupid mother. A position as a political figure. The idea that rich means smart. They don't deserve to have their voices and opinions automatically given more weight and credence just because they have more money. A say in how the other 99% must live. Our attention. Better health outcomes. But they have it because they have access to better healthcare. Tolerance when their selfishness negatively affects others. What is the worst thing to say when a person's crying? I can think of a couple. Is it because of your haircut? Oh, so you want to make them cry more. You just want to hurt them, huh? It's messed up, man. My mom's favorite was, oh, come on, it can't be that bad. In reality, it was that bad. Stop being a bitch. See, this fellow Mason gets it. That's not something you should say to anybody, especially when they're in tears. Why would I go up to somebody who's crying and say, stop being a bitch? Like if I was bawling my eyes out and somebody told me to stop being a bitch, I'd cry more. And then I'd punch them in the face. Stop crying. It makes you look ugly. I'll give you something to cry about. Parents' most prized possession. This sentence. You think that's bad? Insert a one-upper response. You're really turning me on right now. What the frick? What the hell? Get away from me. Oh, so you're PMSing pretty bad, huh? This guy gets no bitches. If you say that, you get no play. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not sorry. Cheer up. Oh, thanks. Forgot why I was sad. Crying is for babies. Can you do it quieter? What's the creepiest conspiracy theory you know? Heaven's Gate, the cult, is still out there and in a massive community in Germany, which they have backing to prove it. The government uses sites like Reddit to ask questions to see what people believe. That way, they can see how their misinformation campaign is going. The one where a global elite uses billions of people for their profit, even if that means many may suffer and die because of it, would be very creepy, if true. Aliens are real, they study us and abduct us, and they've been showing up a lot more recently as of late. That cats are actually the masters and people the pets. Stephen Hawking died in the 80s and was replaced by an imposter, just like Among Us. Oh my god. EmKay Ultra. Because of what we know about it, and more importantly, because of what we don't know about it. Hey, that's it for today's video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Bye.